Imagine this. It's the witching hour on Halloween. The streets are alive with masks and mischief, but beneath the candy wrappers and carved pumpkins, something stirs. Not the harmless fun of costumes and tricks, but the raw, bone-chilling truth that the dead don't stay buried on All Hallows Eve. They knock, they watch, they wait. You've heard the legends: ghosts at the door, shadows in the mirror, whispers in the wind. But what if I told you these aren't stories from dusty books or Hollywood screams? These are true confessions from everyday souls whose Halloween nights shattered into eternal nightmares. 3 ordinary people, 3 fractured evenings, 3 horrors that clawed their way into reality. Tonight, as the veil thins to a razor's edge, I'll pull back the curtain on their tales. But listener, if you feel a chill down your spine, if the lights flicker just so, it might not be the draft, it might be them, calling your name. Ready to join the harvest? Lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's descend into the dark. Welcome, wanderers of the night, to another descent into the unknown. I'm your guide through the gloom, the one who collects these shudders from the edge of sanity. Tonight's triad of terror comes straight from the ether. Anonymous submissions, verified whispers from those who survived the stroke of midnight. We'll journey from a child's innocent quest for sweets to a college bash gone spectral, and finally to a farmhouse feast for the damned. Each story divided by the toll of an unseen bell, marking the boundary between the living and what hungers beyond. Remember, these aren't fables to frighten kids. They're warnings etched in sweat and screams. If your heart races, if shadows seem to shift, pause the video. But if you dare continue, know this: Halloween doesn't end at dawn. It lingers in your dreams, in your doubts. Let's ring the first bell. Picture a crisp October evening in 2018 in the sleepy hollow of Milford, Ohio, where cornfields stretched like skeletal fingers toward a sky bruised purple by dusk. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth, caramel apples roasting on backyard fires, and that faint, acrid tang of fog from overzealous smoke machines. I was just 12, a gangly kid with freckles and dreams bigger than my pirate costume. A tricorn hat too big for my head, an eye patch that itched like the devil, and a foam sword that whistled through the air as we dashed from porch to porch. My pillowcase sack, Mom called it my loot bag, was already sagging with Milky Ways and fun-sized Snickers, the kind of haul that made you feel like you'd robbed a candy store. My crew? Tim, the class clown with his vampire fangs that kept slipping, and Sarah, our fearless leader, in a witch's cape that billowed like storm clouds. We'd map the neighborhood like pirates charting treasure. Start at Maple, loop Elm, end at the Golden Goose, the old Victorian at the cul-de-sac's dead end. Everyone knew it as the witch house. Boarded windows like blind eyes, a sagging roof that whispered secrets to the wind, and a yard choked with briars that snagged your socks like greedy claws. Legend had it, an old crone lived there once, brewing potions from roadkill and moonlight, vanishing one Samhain night in a puff of green smoke. Kids dared each other to knock, no one ever did. But that Halloween, as the clock ticked toward 9 p.m. and the streetlights hummed to life, something changed. A lone bulb flickered on the porch, a warm amber glow cutting through the gloom like a siren's call. The front door? Ajar, just a sliver, spilling golden light that danced with dust motes. Jackpot, Tim hissed, his breath fogging the chill air. Ghost candy dudes, full bars, no strings. We stifle giggles, but mine caught in my throat, a sharp, inexplicable pinch, like fingers brushing my nape. Greed overrode fear. We tiptoed up the splintered steps, each creak a groan from the house's rotten bones. The foyer yawned before us, peeling wallpaper in florid patterns of thorny roses, a chandelier dangling cobwebs like forgotten party streamers. And there, on a warped side table, sat the prize. A porcelain bowl brimming with king-size Hershey's, their foiled wrappers glinting like buried gold. We dove in, ripping open bars with chocolate-smeared glee, the sweetness clawing against the musty rot of the air. That's when my eyes snagged on the mirror. Not just any glass, this was a behemoth, floor to ceiling, its frame a grotesque carving of serpents coiling around skulls, the silver backing tarnished to a sickly patina. It hung askew, as if the wall itself recoiled. Curiosity pulled me closer, my reflection wobbling into focus amid the gloom. But as I licked chocolate from my lips, the boy in the glass shifted. My eye patch? Gone. His left eye bulged, milky and veined, like a fish left too long on the dock. And his mouth, God, his mouth, curved into a rictus grin, lips peeling back over teeth that sharpened to fangs, dripping with something viscous and black. It wasn't smiling with me, it was mocking me, jaws unhinging wider, wider, until the face split like overripe fruit. I could almost hear it, a wet, tearing chuckle, muffled by the glass. My scream lodged in my chest. I blinked, once, twice, and it snapped back. Just me, wide-eyed and wild, chocolate rabbit tracked down my chin. "Guys!" I croaked, stumbling back, my sword clattering to the floor. Tim and Sarah spun, mouths full, brows furrowed. "What, see a rat?" Sarah teased, but their reflections in the mirror? Pristine. Fanged vampires and cackling witches, true to form. No milky stares, no hungry maws. How do you confess that your own face just tried on a demon's mask? That it wanted inside your skin? We fled then, candy avalanching from our bags, pounding pavement until lungs burned and the witch house shrank to a silhouette against the moon. Dawn brought normalcy. The porch light shattered, door barricaded with fresh plywood, as if the night had dreamed itself shut. Neighbors shrugged. Kids must have left it on. But I knew. For months, mirrors became enemies. I'd avert my eyes in bathrooms, flinch at store windows, catch that peripheral leer in car visors. Laughter, faint as rustling foil, echoed in quiet hours. Last All Hallows, I draped every glass in black velvet. But in the witching hour when the house settles, I feel it press against the fabric. Breathing. Grinning. Not content with its old mask. Craving mine. One face stolen in the glass. But what if the horror wears many? What if it crashes your party uninvited, with a grin that freezes the soul? Hear that second bell? It's tolling for the revelers who dance too close to the abyss. Portland in 2022, rain-slicked streets gleaming under neon, a city that pulses with the heartbeat of the young and reckless. Halloween there? A fever dream of excess. Dive bars spilling over with synthwave ghouls, warehouse raves where the bass thumps like a ritual drum. I was 20, a psych major drowning in midterms and cheap ramen, crashing my roommate Lina's bash at a creaky off-campus duplex. Theme: Purge Night, a nod to that dystopian flick where all bets are off after dark. The invite read, masks mandatory, no rules, survive till sunrise. We took it literally. I slathered my face in grey grease paint, tore my thrift store shirt for zombie rags, fake entrails dangling from my belt like grisly party favors. By 10 p.m. the house throbbed. 50 souls sardined into 800 square feet, fog machines belching dry ice that clawed at your throat, EDM skeletons rattling the rafters. Beers flowed like blood from severed arteries. I was 3 deep, buzzing invincible, grinding against a faceless phantom in the haze. Then, at the stroke of midnight, they arrived. Not with fanfare, no dramatic entrance, just a ripple in the crowd as 3 figures slipped through the throng. Cloaked in ebony robes that pooled like oil on the scuffed hardwood, their faces hidden behind masks of polished bone. Elongated skulls, eye sockets scooped hollow, jaws frozen in eternal screams. Plague doctors from some fevered history book, but wrong. Too tall, limbs elongated like stretched taffy. They nodded curtly at Lina, our de facto queen in her bloodied prom gown, and dissolved into the shadows. Method actors, someone slurred. Props from the theater department. I bought it. Chalked the unease to the shrooms circulating on a platter of eyeball deviled eggs. We danced on, bodies slick with sweat, masks askew, the air thick with vape clouds and whispered dares. 2 a.m. struck like a guillotine. Light stuttered, pop, flicker, black, plunging us into strobe hell, silhouettes fracturing like shattered porcelain. Power surged back, but the vibe had curdled. In the kitchen, amid pizza crusts and crushed cans, one cloak stood sentinel over the snack trough, motionless as a gravestone. Curiosity, that old fool, drew me close. Epic costume, man, I burped, clapping a hand on his shoulder. Cold. Not buzzkill fan cold, but graveyard marble. Seeping through the fabric, numbing my palm like liquid nitrogen. No breath fogged the mask's voids. Up close, the bone wasn't painted foam but real. Fissured ivory, etched with runes that seemed to writhe under the fluorescent buzz. I yanked back as it pivoted, sockets boring into me, empty yet alive with a void that pulled, like staring down a well with no bottom. A voice slithered from the nothingness beneath, rasped gravel and wind through crypt bars. The purge begins. Join or be purged. Panic's dominoes toppled. The front door, wedged fast, knobs slick as if oiled by phantoms. Phones flickered to life then died, screens cracking like frost on glass, signals swallowed whole. Shouts erupted. Prank, chill. But the cloaks multiplied in the gloom, herding us like sheep to slaughter. Their touch a blight. Lina's arm, grasped in warning, bubbled with icebergs, skin sloughing like wet paper. It's them, she wailed, clawing at the mark. The hollowed 3, old purge myth, souls trapped in endless night, crashing parties to drag you in. Urban legend that scoffed at in dorm bull sessions. Spectres from a botched ritual in the 70s, forever partying in limbo, freezing the living to join their frost-bitten walls. Chaos reigned, fists hammered doors, chairs splintered against locks. We rammed the couch through a window in a shower of shards, tumbling into the rain-lashed yard, piling into Ubers that peeled out like banshees. Dawn clawed the horizon grey. 2 didn't escape. Found rigid in the azaleas, masks melted to flesh, poses locked in manic twirls, eternal guests at death's disco. Cops spun it as a hazing mishap, spiked drinks, exposure from the fog. No trace of the cloaks, just frost patterns on the walls, like skeletal hands. But I carry the scar, a numb patch on my palm, throbbing come October. And every Halloween, at 2 a.m. sharp, my silenced phone vibrates. The night endures. Outside, rain patters, but listen close. It's footsteps. Dancing. Insistent. The invite never expires. A party purged by the cold. Yet some horrors hunger warmer fare, sweets laced with damnation. The third bell calls from the fields, where treats turn to traps and the harvest reaps more than corn. Out in the black earth hollows of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, 2015, Halloweens were never the spectacle of city spooks. No haunted hayrides or candy megastores, just the farm's long, rutted drive vanishing into a sea of corn that rustled like conspirators under harvest moon. I was 16, all elbows and attitude, with a driver's permit burning a hole in my pocket, and a little brother Mikey who trailed me like a shadow pup. That afternoon, with gutted pumpkins on the splintered porch, mine a snarling skull with candle-glow eyes, his a lopsided jack-o'-grump, seeds scattering like tiny omens. Mom and Dad, faces flushed from cider, headed to the county fair's tractor pulls and pie contests, leaving us with a bowl of Tootsie Rolls and strict orders. Doors open till 8, then bolt it, no wandering. The fields called to Mikey, though, whispers of adventure in the stalks, where wind wove ghost stories from silk and chaff. By age 15, the last gaggle of treaters, 3 ragtag witches on wobbly bikes, pedaled off into the twilight, their giggles swallowed by the gathering dark. We barricaded ourselves in the den, a cocoon of flannel quilts and microwave popcorn, the TV's blue flicker battling the ink outside. Scary movie? Mikey begged, eyes wide as saucers. I queued up some 80s slasher, the kind with synth scores and babysitters who should have known better. Rappers crinkled under us, the sweetness souring on my tongue as night deepened. That's when it started. A knock. Not the eager rat-tat of kids, but deliberate, weighted. Thud, pause, thud, from the back door. The one facing the fields, rusted hinges sealed since Grandpa's stroke, when he swore. The reaper don't use front porches. Raccoons, I lied, pulse quickening. But Mikey burrowed deeper, whimpering about the cornman. Farm fable, passed porch to porch. A drifter from the Dust Bowl era, gaunt as famine, who'd holed up in the silos during the 30s crash. Starved slow, they said, picking kernels from his own skin till madness took him, luring strays with phantom sweets, dragging them into the earth for company. I shushed him, grabbing the maglite, its beam slicing the kitchen gloom. Peering through the pane, cobwebbed, warped, the porch stretched empty, bathed in moonlight that silvered the railings. Fields beyond swayed hypnotic, stalks bowing like supplicants. Another knock, thud, 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 rattling the frame, vibrating up my arm. Trick or treat, losers, I bellowed, bravado cracking. Silence answered, thick as grave dirt. Then, a scrape, paper on wood, insidious. Porch light, dead naturally. Flashlight down, there, nudged against the threshold. Like an offering from the void, lay a single caramel. Not ours, ancient, cellophane yellowed to parchment, crinkled edges frayed as if clawed from a tomb. It hadn't been there seconds ago. The concrete was bare. A daredevil spark lit in me, stupid, reckless. I towed it inside, the wrapper whispering like dry leaves. Mikey shrieked. No, Ellie! Cornman's trick! He gives back what you gave him. Heart hammering, I peeled it open. The candy gleamed, unnaturally warm, veined with threads of crimson, like marrow pulsing beneath. A scent wafted, burnt sugar and soil, undercut by copper rot. And then, the voice. Not from the air, but in it. A susurrus slithering from the treat itself. One sweet, for your marrow. Harvest time, little reaper. I flung it. It skittered but didn't stop, rolling lazy circles, leaving a trail of glistening ooze. The door buckled, wood groaning, bulging inward as if fists pounded from the other side, splinters flying like teeth from a brawl. Claws? No. Silk strands, corn tassels erupting from cracks, coiling, questing toward the caramel, toward us. The phone wailed static. Join the silo song. Sweet, sweet child. Shadows metastasized, walls sprouting fibrous growths that rustled Mikey's name. We scrambled, me scooping him, bolting stairs 2 at a time to the attic, barricading with an old trunk. Hours blurred. Knocks evolved to scrapes, whispers to chants. Feed the man, feed the field. Dawn's first blush seeped through eaves. The assault ebbed, leaving silence and sweat-soaked terror. Parents returned laughing, arms full of blue ribbons and funnel cake. The caramel vanished. Door intact, porch pristine. Owl probably, Dad chuckled. But the fields that season? Cursed. Stalks twisted into layers, ears bulging with kernels that popped like eyes under pressure. Whispers rode the breeze at dusk, calling strays. We fled the farm come spring, trading black soil for suburb sidewalks. Yet every October it finds me, that yellow scrap in my mailbox, unyielding, insistent. Unwrap it? Never. But in still nights I hear the thud. Your turn, it promises. The corn man hungers still, and the fields, they remember. And there my shadowed kin. The bells fall silent. 3 true horrors from Halloween's jagged heart. A mirror that steals your smile. A party that claims your pulse. A treat that reaps your soul. Ordinary nights, extraordinary dread. Reminders that All Hallows Eve isn't just a date on the calendar. It's a fracture, a feast for the forgotten. If these tales chilled your marrow, if you glimpsed your own reflection a touch too long, you're not alone. The veil mends, but the scars linger. Got a brush with the beyond? A Halloween that haunts your heels? Drop it in the comments. Your whisper might echo in the next telling. Like, subscribe, ring that bell for more descents into the dark. But as you close this tab, pause. What's that shadow in the hall? That rustle at the door? Sleep shallow, friends. The night, it never truly ends. Until the next toll, sweet dreams, or not.